Imagine a universe where humans are no longer fragile creatures reliant on technology for survival. Instead, our bodies have become perfect instruments, a living armor capable of withstanding any challenge, from deadly cosmic radiation to the harshest conditions on distant planets. But could this be more than just science fiction? The Omega Space Research Center has made an astonishing discovery: the human body, in its most natural state, possesses resilience and adaptability far beyond any other known species. Professor Rian, the daring scientist leading these groundbreaking experiments, believes we are on the brink of uncovering a terrifying yet miraculous truth: this latent power is not just an opportunity, it is a weapon. Ethan Jang, a bold young engineer, has volunteered to be at the center of these extreme experiments, pushing his body to its absolute limits. But will these revelations elevate humanity to the pinnacle of conquest, or will they lead us into uncharted dangers? The story of the Genesis Project is not just a journey to explore human potential, it raises a profound question: are we ready to face the immense power that lies within us? In the cold shadows of an underground space lab, Professor Rian's eyes were glued to the monitor, which displayed a continuous stream of biological data. Graphs fluctuated, and lines of text highlighted the physical metrics of Ethan Jang, a passionate young engineer. But today was no ordinary day for Ethan. He had volunteered to become the focal point of a bold scientific project designed to test the boundaries of human capability and impossibility. Professor Rian often started discussions with a provocative question to spark curiosity: why is it that we creatures without the protective shells of turtles or the thick hides of rhinos remain the dominant species on Earth? Could there be a secret within the human body we've yet to uncover? This question wasn't idle speculation. Humanity faced an unprecedented threat: the Krynax, an alien species equipped with a bio-armor harder than steel, were advancing steadily toward the solar system. Battles at the galactic edge revealed that human weaponry was no match for their defenses. The collapse of Earth's military forces left humanity cornered, and in this dire moment, Professor Rian's project emerged as a flicker of hope. Ethan stepped into the lab with a mix of confidence and curiosity. As an experienced bioengineering specialist, he understood the risks he was taking. But Ethan's motivation wasn't purely scientific. His parents had been killed during the Krynax assault on Mars Resonance Station 3 years ago. For him, this was not just about proving humanity's strength, it was about delivering justice. The first experiment unfolded under the watchful eyes of Professor Rian and his team. Ethan stood inside a transparent testing chamber where a robotic arm was programmed to replicate the force of a Krynax strike. "Ready, Ethan?" Professor Rian asked through the intercom, as sensors attached to Ethan's body began recording every minute change. The first impact landed with a resounding crash, yet Ethan remained standing. Data showed that his skin absorbed nearly all the force, distributing it evenly across his body rather than concentrating it at a single point. Ethan stumbled back slightly, feeling a dull ache in his arm, but there were no significant injuries. Next, Ethan was subjected to extreme temperature conditions. Within minutes, the chamber plummeted to -120 degrees Celsius, simulating the icy environment of alien worlds. His skin turned pale, but his body activated an unprecedented mechanism. Ethan's blood vessels constricted, redirecting blood flow to vital organs, enabling him to maintain consciousness and stability where most organisms would have succumbed. The temperature then soared to 80 degrees Celsius. Despite showing signs of exhaustion, Ethan endured. "Incredible," Professor Rian murmured. "Your body doesn't just adapt quickly, it performs more efficiently under extreme stress." The experiments didn't stop there. Ethan was exposed to a highly toxic chemical compound designed to paralyze any nervous system within seconds. Yet his body immediately reacted, triggering a powerful immune response that neutralized the toxins before they could spread. "This goes beyond anything we've ever known," Professor Rian exclaimed during a virtual meeting with the Planetary Research Council. "Humans are not as fragile as we once believed. Within them lies a powerful biological defense system, something we can harness as a strategic advantage against the Krynax." Though exhausted, Ethan's resolve was unshaken. He knew this project wasn't just about science, it was humanity's last hope in an unbalanced war. "If our bodies can endure all this, why not turn it into a weapon?" he asked, his eyes blazing as if staring directly into the future. Ethan's question opened a new path. Professor Rian shifted his focus from analyzing human potential to planning a biological enhancement program. "If we can replicate or activate these abilities on a large scale, we will no longer be prey. We will become the predators," the professor declared, igniting excitement among all those following the project. Meanwhile, on the far side of the galaxy, the Krynax continued their approach. But this time, humanity was no longer trembling in fear. They were preparing for a counterattack not with machines, but with the very strength of humanity itself. In a state-of-the-art laboratory at the Omega Space Research Center, the flickering neon lights reflected off sleek metallic walls. Ethan Jang stood in the center of the testing chamber, a sealed space equipped with specialized devices designed to push his body to its ultimate limits. He wasn't just an engineer, he was the first test subject in history chosen to validate Professor Rian's audacious hypothesis, that the human body, often deemed fragile, is in fact a powerful biological machine engineered to survive conditions even armored extraterrestrial species could not endure. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of countless eyes watching him through reinforced glass. Beyond the glass, Professor Rian and the Helios Planetary Research Council observed intently. Every test was meticulously recorded not just to prove the theory but to uncover any final weaknesses in the human body, if they existed. Test 1: Extreme Impact. A robotic arm, nearly 10 feet long, moved toward Ethan. Equipped with a steel block weighing over 200 kilograms, it was set to simulate an impact force equivalent to a fall from a 3-story height. Ethan stood upright, his sharp gaze betraying no fear. "Begin," he said calmly into the intercom, his deep voice resonating in the control room. In an instant, the robot swung the steel block down. A deafening clang echoed as the tremendous force collided with Ethan's body. Astonishingly, he remained standing, only slightly buckling at the knees before regaining his balance. Data from the sensors attached to his body revealed something extraordinary. Not only had he withstood the impact, but his body had also distributed the pressure across different muscle groups, minimizing damage to his bones and organs. "His skin isn't torn. No signs of fractures," an assistant exclaimed. "His cells seem to absorb the force and convert it into energy." Professor Rian, barely concealing his excitement, jotted down notes on the control panel. Force distribution could be an inherent biological defense mechanism, akin to superelastic materials in nanotechnology. Test 2: Extreme Temperatures. In the next test, Ethan was placed in a climate simulation chamber. The temperature began to plummet rapidly, dropping from 77 degrees Fahrenheit to -58 degrees Fahrenheit in just 2 minutes. Ethan's breath quickly turned to visible vapor in the freezing air. As the temperature reached -148 degrees Fahrenheit, the observers outside the chamber grew increasingly concerned. Yet, Ethan remained still. Data indicated that his blood vessels constricted to minimize heat loss, while vital organs like his heart and brain were prioritized with warm blood circulation. Sensors on his skin detected a thin layer of frost forming on its surface, but rather than causing damage, this layer acted as natural insulation. Minutes later, the chamber's temperature rose sharply to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, mimicking the searing conditions of a planetary desert. Ethan's breathing slowed, and his body began to sweat just enough to cool itself without excessive dehydration. Biometric data showed his core body temperature remained stable, a feat nearly impossible for an average human. This can't be explained by normal biology, a council scientist remarked. How is he adapting so quickly? This is proof of my theory, Professor Rian replied. Humans don't just survive, they evolve in real time to face the environment. Test 3, Toxic chemical exposure. In the final experiment, Ethan was exposed to a highly toxic chemical compound capable of paralyzing the nervous systems of most living organisms. The toxin was released into the chamber as a faint green mist enveloping him. Ethan breathed slowly, enduring the initial discomfort as the compound began affecting his system. Instead of collapsing, he experienced only temporary symptoms like mild headaches and tingling in his fingertips. Data revealed his immune system had activated a rapid defense mechanism, producing enzymes that broke down the toxin before it could spread. When the compound was cleared from the chamber, Ethan emerged, only slightly fatigued but entirely conscious. He didn't just survive, Professor Rian declared, his eyes shining with excitement. He developed antibodies in real time. This is the pinnacle of adaptability. During a debriefing session following the experiments, the Helios Planetary Research Council couldn't hide their astonishment. What we've just witnessed is irrefutable evidence that the human body is a biological marvel, the council president stated. Some council members proposed using Ethan's data to develop bioenhancements for the military, while others raised ethical concerns about exploiting such latent power. Professor Rian, maintaining his characteristic calm, affirmed, "We are not creating weapons. We are helping humanity realize they are far stronger than they've ever believed. True strength lies in adaptability and the ability to overcome adversity." Light from the hollow screen in front of Professor Rian flickered with streams of biological data from the previous experiments. Each chart and line of statistics was undeniable proof. The human body was not merely a fragile mass of flesh but an optimized defense system honed over millions of years of evolution. In the central conference room, the members of the Helios Planetary Research Council listened in captivated silence as the professor revealed his groundbreaking findings. Distinguished members, Professor Rian began, his voice firm and resonant, "We've always assumed humanity to be among the weakest species in the universe due to their lack of natural armor. But my research proves the contrary. Without the need for thick shells or hard exoskeletons, humans possess an internal defense system powerful, adaptable, and no less effective." Holographic projections above the conference table displayed a three-dimensional model of the human body, zooming in on key biological structures to highlight the professor's points. On the screen, slow-motion footage of Ethan enduring an intense impact replayed. Close-ups revealed how his skin compressed under pressure, only to spring back into place unharmed. Human skin, Professor Rian pointed to the hologram, isn't merely a passive barrier. Its high elasticity disperses impact forces over a wider area. The collagen and elastin fibers within it act like a network capable of absorbing and rebounding energy. A council member interjected, "But many alien species also have elastic skin. What makes human skin unique?" "Good question," the professor smiled. "What sets it apart is its ability to self-repair. Within hours or days, minor injuries heal almost entirely. Under extreme conditions like acid exposure or severe temperature shifts, Ethan's skin didn't just endure, it adapted." Next, The nervous system, Professor Rian continued, switching the hologram to a simulation showing neural impulses as flashes of light racing through Ethan's body in response to external stimuli. When faced with danger, the speed at which the human nervous system transmits signals is almost instantaneous. This doesn't just allow them to avoid major injuries but also triggers protective reflexes. For example, when Ethan was struck by extreme force, his nervous system immediately signaled his muscles to contract and absorb the impact, minimizing damage. One council scientist commented, "It's like an AI system embedded in the body, constantly analyzing and adjusting." Precisely, Professor Rian nodded. The difference is, this system operates entirely on internal biological energy. The presentation concluded with a focus on the immune system, an aspect Professor Rian deemed unparalleled. In one of our experiments, Ethan encountered a toxic chemical compound. Within minutes, his body produced specialized enzymes to neutralize the toxin before significant harm could occur. This demonstrates an immune system not only capable of rapid response but one that learns and improves in real time. The holographic simulation illustrated this process, showing white blood cells surrounding and dismantling harmful molecules before recording them for future encounters. In essence, the professor summarized, our immune systems are like armies that grow stronger after every battle. Wrapping up his presentation, Professor Rian delivered a bold assertion: the most remarkable discovery isn't just that we survive extreme conditions, but that we don't require external armor. The human body itself is a finely tuned biological machine. We don't need armor because we are the armor. The room fell silent for a moment before erupting into applause from the council members. In the vast conference room of the Helios Planetary Research Center, the glow of holoscreens illuminated the stern face of Professor Rian as he stepped up to the podium. In the audience, the leading scientists, military officials, and politicians of the Interstellar Union watched attentively. On the screen, the words Genesis Project appeared in radiant lettering, marking a pivotal moment in human history. Professor Rian began his speech with a powerful yet hopeful tone. For millennia, we have pondered what sets humanity apart. Now, we know the answer lies not only in our intelligence or creativity but in our bodies, a biological machine capable of transcending every limitation. Yet the question is no longer why we possess this potential, but what will we do with it? The hologram shifted to display images of uncharted planets, worlds teeming with danger yet brimming with enormous potential. The professor continued, the universe is a brutal battlefield where only the strongest survive. For millions of years, we have evolved to adapt to Earth, but now, Earth is no longer our limit. We stand on the brink of dominating every environment, from the icy ocean depths to planets with toxic atmospheres. And this journey begins with the Genesis Project. The project was outlined in detail through several segments. Phase 1. Enhancing biological potential. The primary goal of the Genesis Project was to upgrade human biology without relying on external technology. Professor Rian explained, we've identified genes responsible for abilities like tissue regeneration, toxin resistance, and thermal adaptation. By editing these genes using advanced CRISPR techniques, we can create the first generation of humans capable of near-instant adaptation to any environment. A hologram displayed a group of test subjects surviving on Corva 7, a planet with surface temperatures exceeding 100 degrees Celsius, without the need for protective suits. Phase 2. Conquering hostile planets. Genesis Project's ambitions didn't end with enhancing biology. The next phase involved deploying exploratory teams to distant planets to test their capabilities. Planets like Cryon, with freezing climates and ammonia-rich atmospheres, or Sornas 3, a desert world with extreme radiation, were prime targets. A simulated video showed an expedition team landing on Sornas 3. Instead of bulky protective armor, they used lightweight equipment as their bodies were optimized to withstand extreme temperatures and radiation. Phase 3, Defense and Territorial Expansion. Professor Rian paused before addressing a sensitive topic. We are not alone in the universe. The Krynax and other species have demonstrated their willingness to fight fiercely for their territories. To survive, we must not only adapt but also prepare for confrontation. A portion of the Genesis project focused on leveraging human biological capabilities in warfare. Enhanced reflexes, flexible musculature, and unparalleled endurance would be optimized to create a superior fighting force, unencumbered by technology susceptible to hacking or failure. To illustrate, the hologram switched to a simulated battle. A group of Krynax soldiers, equipped with exosuites and plasma weapons, attacked a human expedition team. Instead of retreating, the humans used their heightened speed and reflexes to evade, relying on rapid regeneration to keep fighting despite severe injuries. Despite the undeniable potential of the Genesis project, some members of the council expressed ethical concerns. A young scientist stood and asked, "Professor, what happens if these advancements are misused? If we turn humans into war machines, won't we lose our humanity?" Professor Rian replied with resolute conviction, "Technology is not ethical or unethical, it is the intent of its users that defines its purpose. The Genesis project is not about creating soulless warriors but about safeguarding humanity and expanding our horizons. However, you're right, we must establish boundaries and regulations to ensure this power is not abused." The speech concluded with an inspiring message. The universe gives us nothing. Everything we achieve must be earned. The Genesis project is the first step in proving that humanity will not only survive in the cosmos, we will conquer it. But to do so, we need unity, courage, and responsibility. This is not just a scientific endeavor but a declaration that humanity deserves its place among the stars. As the lights dimmed and the hologram faded, the attendees left the conference room deep in thought. Some were exhilarated by the bright future, while others grappled with the ethical challenges posed by the Genesis project. Yet all agreed on one thing: humanity's new chapter had begun, and nothing could halt their progress. Ethan emerged from the final testing chamber, his body bearing the marks of grueling experiments. Yet his eyes betrayed no fatigue, only a fierce determination. Behind him, Professor Rian stood silently, his hands clenched as if bearing the entire burden of the Genesis project. "Now we know that humanity doesn't merely survive, we shape our destiny," Professor Rian said, his voice somber but meaningful. "However, this power is not just a gift, it is a challenge." On the lab's large screen, images of distant planets and uncharted regions of space flickered into view. A caption scrolled across: "Genesis Project Next Chapter, The Convergence of Science and Instinct." Ethan gazed at the star-filled sky through the research center's massive window. He didn't know where the future would take him: new planets, alien species, or battles for survival. But one thing was certain: he was no longer just an engineer but a symbol of a new humanity, stronger and more resilient than ever. Beyond the void of space, in the deep darkness, a small exploration ship sped toward the unknown. In the distance, faint lights of other ships, non-human, seemed to be on the move. The Genesis project was not just a journey of hope but a harbinger of a perilous future. The question lingered: was this the dawn of humanity's cosmic conquest, or the prelude to an unending war?